Greetings, brothers and sisters. Hello and welcome back to Eva's House of Spirit. Welcome back as well to my kitchen, and welcome back to my 13 Days of Samhain series. Today is day 12. Can you believe we are actually almost through this series? Honestly, it kind of flew by for me. Ah, so good. Let me just put my coffee down. Let me put that over here. That's a better spot. Okay, so for today's episode, I've decided I'm going to share with you a recipe for simmering potpourri. Simmering potpourri is a nice way to scent your home, but it's an alternative to incense. I know not all of you can necessarily burn incense in your homes. And also, this simmering potpourri that I'm going to share with you, it has the nice party bonus slash benefit that you can also utilize this as a spiritual slash magical bath for Samhain. So you can kind of use it as one or the other or both in terms of simmering potpourri or a bath. So I'm not going to actually brew up the bath right now on camera because at the moment it's just not, I guess you could say it's just not convenient for me because I actually have other things I have to do in a moment when I'm done filming this. So it's just, right now it's not a good time for me to brew it, but I can just tell you what goes into the recipe and tell you how to utilize the recipe. I'm sure you'll all understand. So let's first get into the simmering potpourri. The scent of this is going to be that one scent that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, Witch's Brew. This is my version of Witch's Brew. You know, it's got that like touch of licoricey smell, and it's got the kind of like, you know, seasonal like cinnamon and like allspice and clovey, orangey kind of smell too. So I think it's really something nice to kind of fragrance your home with. But before I get into the actual recipe itself, I will say as well, you know, there are reasons why I chose these certain herbs in this certain recipe. They really are conducive to, you know, the kind of work and the energy of the season as well, you know, of this time of year, of the holiday. So what's going into this? The first thing we're going to put into this is anise seed. Once again, it's got that licoricey smell that is so signature to Witch's Brew, but also anise seed, as I said in my previous video. It is very helpful in increasing psychic sensitivity and opening up psychic centers. You know, this is a time of year where we tend to do a lot of divination, and we tend to seek to really be open to receiving, you know, messages from spirit, or messages from ancestors, or, you know, messages from the departed in general, or just from the universe maybe. So yeah, that's the first ingredient, anise seed. And by the way, there are no like strict measurements of how much of this stuff to use. It's kind of like, as long as there's some of each of these ingredients in your brew, it will be okay. I would say at the very least, you know, use maybe a teaspoon of each. You know, you can't really go wrong. You can kind of tweak your amounts. If you test it out today, you could tweak your amounts and get it just how you like it, maybe for Samhain, you know, for tomorrow. So yeah, we got the anise seed. And I will say, if you don't have anise seed, you can substitute star anise. Star anise is also a psychic enhancing herb, among other things. So then the next few ingredients, we have orange peel, we have cinnamon chips or cinnamon sticks, we have allspice berries and cloves. What I'm going to use, instead of using each of these ingredients separately, instead of using the orange peel, the cinnamon, the allspice, and the cloves separately, I happen to have a tin here of Williams Sonoma mulling spices that was given to me. All of the 4 herbs that I just mentioned are in this with nothing extra. So rather than, going and gathering up all the 4 ingredients I just mentioned, I'm just going to throw in, a bit of this because it'll do the same thing. So if you own Williams Sonoma mulling spices, you could just use those for the orange peel, the cinnamon chips, the allspice berries, and the cloves. Also, I'm going to be adding in some apple. I'm just going to use a fresh apple. I'm going to slice it up, toss it into the pot. And the last ingredient is going to be a pinch of nutmeg. And now I'm going to tell you what each of these ingredients does. I told you about how the anise seed is very, sort of psychically awakening, opening of the psychic centers, how it increases psychic sensitivity. Well, and star anise would do the same. If you don't have anise seed, you can substitute star anise. Well, the orange peel, that brings blessings. It's a very, as I said, sort of solar associative herb. I know we're in a dark time, but orange is also a very seasonal herb at the same time, but it does have a lot of associations and energy inflow with, blessings and well-being and prosperity and all kind of good stuff. The cinnamon chips or the cinnamon sticks, they are good for luck, money, spicing up your life in general or spicing up your love life. The allspice berries with the cinnamon and the nutmeg that are in this recipe, especially as an herbal triad, they're excellent for success. The allspice berries are also good for luck and money. They're good for blessings as well. The cloves, as I've mentioned earlier in the series, they're excellent for protection, so that's excellent to put in this recipe. The apple is good for spirit work. It's supportive of and conducive to spirit work, spirit communication, that sort of stuff. And the pinch of nutmeg, that's good for ensuring that things go in your favor, that things go well for you, things go as you've planned and hoped them to go, so that there aren't any snags or craziness in your night or in your observances. Not to say that nothing crazy might necessarily happen though, because sometimes things happen for a reason. Usually I find things happen for reasons. Even crazy things that you may not like all the time, I find that if they help to take you closer to an experience that you should be having, which can carry you closer to your, I guess you could say destiny, or closer to where you need to be in life, those things will occur. If they have absolutely nothing to contribute to your experience, to your life, to your journey, I find that things like that don't happen. And hindsight is 20/20, folks. So just saying, even if you're using nutmeg in your workings and things happen that don't feel like they're in your favor, a lot of times things like that, it's because you're not seeing how they're contributing to something else that is following or will follow or has followed. It helps to connect those dots, I find. But you may disagree with me on this, but I do find that things happen for a reason. Things sort of carry you along in that river of life closer to where you need to be. So now that I've rambled in that respect, as I said before, this simmering potpourri can also be used as a bath, and the herbs have the same energies whether you're using them as a simmering potpourri or as a bath. They have the same energies and effects. Basically, as I said before, there's no set amount of how much of this stuff you want to use. I would say at least a spoon of each, for the herbs in particular, and then just an apple. And what you're going to do for the simmering potpourri is you want to have a pot with a good amount of water in it. And you're going to simmer these herbs. Turn your heat to low. You don't want to boil it crazy on a rolling boil, because then the water will evaporate very quickly. You want to try and monitor and make sure there's a good amount of water at all times in the pot. If it starts to evaporate down pretty low, you want to be adding water. You want to keep water in that pot as it simmers. It will scent your home. For the simmering potpourri, you don't need to like tie these up in any kind of a, baggie or anything, or you don't need to have them in a tea ball or anything. Because when this is all done, when the potpourri has been used, if you're not going to use it as a spiritual bath, you could just, dump the pot with the ingredients down your toilet. Or you could, skim off the herbs and then dump it. I would say be careful of your plumbing, especially with things like cinnamon sticks and stuff, and apples. But, for like the loose herbs and stuff, it's not as big of a deal if they go down the pipes. If it's for a bath, if you're going to use this for a bath, then yeah, you probably want to have your herbs be in some sort of a, cloth bag, like a muslin or linen bag, or like a tea ball or something, some kind of something that'll keep the little loose herbs from getting all over all willy-nilly. And then you would simmer this, and it would scent your home. But then you could use the brew as well, add it to a bath. Or, if you don't have a bathtub, you could pour it over yourself in the shower. So yeah, those are some things that you can do in terms of scenting your home. The bath can be used either before gatherings, to bring positive and helpful energies to you, or it can be used before magical work, or before, any kind of spiritual observance that you do, or any kind of ritual that you might do. So, or even if you just want to do the bath just for yourself, just to bring on good things into your life for, in this seasonal observance, you can do that too. The simmering potpourri, as the herbs simmer and the scent fills your home, so too do the energies and blessings and, effects of these herbs fill your home. So that's a positive thing there. Okay, so that's pretty much the extent of the recipes that I want to share with you today. Okay, so at this point in the video, I also wanted to mention something that I came across that I'm looking forward to for tomorrow in the evening. I went to the liquor store, what day was it? Friday. I went after work, and I was looking around. I thought maybe it'd be nice to pick up something for Samhain, something maybe to try, something I haven't had before, because I've been working at tasting various wines, trying various wines, deciding what I like. There's no real trick to being a wine connoisseur. It's just what you like. So if anyone ever tries to tell you, oh, there are certain criteria, blah, 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 and all kind of whatever rules to being a wine connoisseur or whatever, a wine enthusiast, that's all a lie. It's all really what you like for your own reasons. So anyway, I'm getting kind of off on a tangent. What I found at the liquor store, I found Tomasello Winery Broomstick Brew. That's what the label looks like. This says that it's a red wine with natural flavors. Alcohol is 12% by volume. And it says on the very bottom, serve warm from your cauldron. This is a wine that contains like mulling spices, and it's meant to be drunk. Yeah, it's meant to be drunk warm. Drunk. I think the word is drunk. It's meant to be drunk warm. It says on the back. Broomstick Brew is a delightful blend of red wine and mulling spices, served warm from your cauldron. This wicked concoction is perfect in front of a roaring fire with baked brie, toasted almonds, and sugared apples. Delicious on goblin nights when a howling wind chills your soul. Broomstick Brew warms your heart and embraces this special time of year. So, from what I understand, I think there's also, I don't know if there's brandy in this as well. There might be. But I asked the lady in the liquor store. I said, okay, so it says serve warm from your cauldron. That does mean I'm supposed to warm this up, right? And she said, yeah. She said, you could put it in a pan and, you know, warm it up on very low heat to just before boiling. You don't want to boil off the alcohol because then it's kind of like, what's the point of drinking wine? She said just before it begins to really, really like boil, you would turn off the heat. But again, keep your heat super, super low. You know, the idea is to start it on simmering heat, you know, on very low heat that you would simmer something on, and then when it starts to kind of just get fairly warm, almost hot, then you would turn it off. Because again, you don't want to cook off that alcohol. And I have no idea what this is like. I have not tried this yet. I just thought it would be fun to give this a whirl. You know, how do I know if I like it if I don't try it? So that's something going on with my wine connoisseur, wine enthusiast adventures. I thought I would share that with you because maybe you all want to kind of, you know, assuming you're of age to drink and assuming you like to drink occasionally for special occasions, you might want to go and look for this. Maybe it's sold in your area. Maybe you can pick it up or something like this and give it a shot, give it a whirl. Another thing I wanted to bring forth in this video, I thought I would put this here, like kind of deeper in the video. I don't want to shout this to the mountaintops because I want to try and thwart anyone who tries to get in on this, who isn't truly invested in this, who doesn't really care about this. I wanted to thank all of you who have been watching, participating, commenting, answering those witchy questions of the day, or just bringing forth, you know, thoughts and feelings in the comments of the videos that have been up in this series. I have decided, because this was not an easy series to film, you know, I lacked a lot of sleep and I sacrificed a lot of time and energy and focus and stuff to really bring these videos to you. Some of them I managed to pre-record, not all of them I could. You know, it hasn't been easy to produce a 13-episode series in time for the holidays. So in order to say thank you for those of you who took this seriously, who really participated, I've decided that those of you who have commented, I'm going to reward you. I'm going to put your names into a drawing for a snail mail giveaway. For those of you who have commented, I have decided that I'm going to put your names together in a drawing, and then on November 2nd, on Dia de los Muertos, I'm going to draw one person's name, and that person will be winning the snail mail giveaway, and in that video I will also show what you will be winning. It's going to be a rather small package, nothing too big, because, I mean, come on, I don't know if you're going to be living international or local to the U.S. I don't know if, you know, how much it's going to cost, so I'm going to try to keep it a little on the smaller side, but it is going to be something good, you know? It's not going to be just like one item, it's going to be a few things kind of put together in a little box. What I'm going to do also, to prevent kind of like bandwagon jumpers, is I'm going to close the entry period at midnight Eastern USA time, that's New York time, 12 o'clock in the morning, 12 a.m. on the 31st. So whoever's commented by that point, that's who's going to be entered in the giveaway. Anybody commenting after that point, sorry, you're not going to be entered in the giveaway, because then it just leaves this open for maybe too many people to jump on in this that might not really be invested in this. I'm giving a small window of leeway yet from the point that I post this video to midnight on the 31st to allow others that may not have, you know, realized, hey, maybe I should participate. You know, maybe they could find a video somewhere in the series that they really that really resonates with them, and maybe they can just say something on the video and be included in the giveaway. You know, I don't want to completely shut the door and be like, ha ha, you didn't know. I want to leave at least a little bit of room there for, you know, others to enter. But I also, at the same time, again, as I said before, I'm not putting this this giveaway in the title of this video. I'm not shouting it out to the mountaintops. You know, I'm not announcing it widely, because I want it to be like really mainly for people who really do care about and are, you know, this series, and really for the people who are participating, and for the people who this series and this channel really mean something to. I know that there's possibility that other people might jump in on this that might not be as invested, but you know what? I think I've narrowed it so that there should be less of that. So, finally, now we come to our question of the day. The question of the day for this episode, for today, is going to be, out of all the episodes I've put up, including this one in this series thus far, which one is your favorite episode and why? I'm asking this because I do plan on doing other 13 Days of Samhain series, in the future, in coming years, and having you all weigh in on what was your favorite topic. That would really help me, I think, to have a sense of what kind of things you like to hear about, what kind of things really moved you, so I can kind of maybe bring a little more along those lines to the fore in future years. And finally, we come to our journaling exercise. For this journaling exercise, I invite you all to write down the recipe that I shared with you today that can be doubled as a simmering potpourri and or a spiritual bath, a magical bath. That way you'll have it for this year and for future years, And I also invite you to do some research on your own, online or in books, wherever, even talking to others. Find some other maybe DIY recipes like this for simmering potpourri and or baths. And you can write them down, keep them to try out and whatever, this year and in future years. And I also invite you and I suggest to you that maybe you want to try your hand at creating your own simmering potpourri and or bath recipes. You could test them out today, tonight, and get them kind of ready, sort of like fine-tune them a little bit for tomorrow. Get the proportions of your herbs and the scents, like get it how you like it. That way you can kind of develop your own recipes. And be sure, I would suggest, to write down what the herbs in your recipes, what they are good for, what they do, what you intend them to do. And maybe even if you use certain measurements in putting together your own recipes, do be sure to write those down as well, because that way if you do really love something you come up with, you can recreate it. So that's your journaling exercise. You're kind of gathering together your simmering potpourri and spiritual/magical or energy bath recipes for Samhain. And with that, I'm going to wish you all blessed be and ashe. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Do keep in mind, again, that window of time that you have for the giveaway. Again, it's going to be 12 a.m. New York time, 12 a.m. Eastern U.S. time, that is. That's going to be the cutoff for anyone entering the giveaway for the snail mail prize for being interactive in this series, because really, I did go out on a limb and I did give a lot of myself for this, and I'm sure you all appreciate it, but I want to thank you all for, those of you who have interacted in some way, who have commented on a video or two, who just have, shown support and come on out and kind of like, not been sticks in the mud, you all kind of like had fun with me and kind of like joined in. That's big. It's big. Trust me. It hasn't gone unnoticed. Even if I haven't commented back to all your messages yet because I've been very busy, it's all appreciated. Totally appreciated. And I thank you all. So again, that's going to be drawn and announced on November 2nd on Dia de los Muertos. And yeah, until tomorrow, until our next exchange, until Halloween, until Samhain, blessed be and ashe, as I said. You all stay awesome. And bye-bye for now.